On the final night of harvest, the bells of Greyfen Castle tolled eerily in the fog. The river exhaled mist around the outer wall, while the wind brought hints of extinguished torches and ancient secrets from the barrows. In the village below, shutters were shut tight, and dogs lay alert. A pale star had crossed the sky, making even the bravest swear their well water shifted in a single prayer. Sir Aldric of Thornvale stood on the battlements, gauntleted hands resting on a stone worn from sieges. He was a rugged man whose voice could cut through a storm and whose silence could make pages sweat. Beside him, Bran, a spirited squire with hay-colored hair, fidgeted. A boy born to a miller, hanged for thievery in a winter best left unspoken. Below, the keep's hall buzzed with whispers. King Edric lay frail and damp, his breath labored. Queen Merla held a council behind closed doors, and to the north, Baron Corvin sharpened his knives. The queen summoned Aldric at moonset. She wore no crown, just an iron ring darkened by some ancient art. "You will ride at dawn," she commanded, her voice firm as stone. "Take 30 men, no banners. Corvin must be lured to Oathwell and made to kneel. This letter has my seal. If he comes in peace, all may yet be salvaged." She placed the parchment in Aldric's palm, adding quietly, "If not, you must unmake his pride like one crushes a snake's head and does not flinch." In the monastery at the hill's base, Brother Halvor spoke over bread and salt, his eyes twinkling like lanterns in wrinkles. "Prophecy is a net," he cautioned. "They say the king will live if the river runs backward. A stag with horns lit like dawn shall lead the true oath. The pale company rides when the crown lies to itself." Bran paused, spoon halfway to his mouth. "Does the queen lie?" he asked. The monk smiled knowingly. "Ask the river." They rode through ash-covered villages where children stared unblinking, and adults mended burnt thatch facing the east, as if sunrise could douse the remnants. Signs of raiders were visible, yet hoofprints were clean and campfires cold. Whispers spread that Greyfen's own guards had turned rogue under masks of iron. In Bloodreed Wood, they encountered a woman draped in undyed wool, leading a mule with a broken bell. Without hesitation, she stepped into Aldric's path. "Your mother sang me to sleep," she said. "Born with a call, your skin stank of smoke for a week." Aldric's men crossed themselves against her witchcraft. She raised her head. Her face was hauntingly familiar, like a scar forgotten until rain fell. "Two crowns exist in Greyfen," she whispered. "One drips poison from a king, one burns in a heart. Do not mistake the heavier for the truer." On the third day at dusk, they found a village razed, an old man propped on a staff. "Riders in cloaks of ash took our wheat," he croaked. "No name spoken. They bore the queen's falcon." Bran touched the pin of the same falcon inside his cloak, as if it were a blade's edge. Oathwell sat at the old road atop a ridge, stones leaning inward like attentive men. Baron Corvin arrived clad in black, his beard adorned with bronze. His men infiltrated the hawthorn with raven banners lowered. Aldric approached alone, placing the queen's sealed letter at the well's edge. "Here, every oath binds, and every lie awakens old snakes," he declared. Corvin smiled slyly. "Then let us tread carefully, Sir Thornvale." Aldric broke the seal, reading the contents silently, blood draining from his face as if drawn out. He read aloud, voice steady to prevent more widows. "To Sir Aldric, my hand in shadow. The king dies from dust in his wine. Delay all cures, kill Corvin by the well, and call it mercy, or the marches will burn. Better one wolf felled than 100 lambs. Forgive me beyond the veil. Signed, Merla," trembling only at the end. Silence enveloped the scene. Bran rasped, "She did it." Corvin's men reached for hilts. The Baron's eyes sparkled maliciously. "Your queen poisons her king and bids you spill my blood," he said with feigned tenderness. "What will you do, Greyfen?" Aldric dismounted, placing the letter on the stone. and unsheathing his sword. "I will do what breaks my heart least," he replied. "Baron, swear, no raids past your barrows, no wheat taken without payment, no banners raised while the king fights. Swear by the old water, and I'll stand against any who harm you today, Queen's order or not." Corvin laughed, surprised, like stepping on ice that holds. He cut his palm, letting blood fall. "I swear," he declared, and his captains echoed, though one averted Aldric's gaze. Shouts erupted. White cloaks surged from the hedges. The Pale Company, masked with the Queen's falcon. Steel clashed, men fell. Aldric fought like the fiercest wind against fate. Corvin's axe struck his shield, then broke a mask. Bran spotted a captain lunging at Aldric's back and hurled himself, taking the blow meant for his lord. Blood streamed down his ear. "River," he gasped. "Ask the river." As if invoked, the ground trembled. The well sighed, its waters stirring like an awakening beast. For a breath, the stream trembled, flowing backward toward the chalky ridge. Men froze mid-battle, eyes wide. Suddenly, a stag stepped from the thorns, antlers glowing with dawn's memory. It gazed at Aldric and stamped once. Then the world snapped back. The river surged forward, the well returning to its former state. The Pale Company hesitated. Aldric pressed his sword to the captain's throat, stating into the mask slits, "Your queen's orders die here." The captain lowered his weapon, and half the white cloaks followed. The others fled. Corvin spat, wiping his axe. He glanced at the well, at the stag's vanished presence, and then Aldric. "Old oaths breathe," he murmured, a ghost of a bow in his voice. They returned under a bruised sky. Brother Oathwell waited on the steps, tears on his cheeks. "It was not his to live," he whispered. "The bell foretold it. The king is gone." In the hall, Queen Merla stood alone by the cold hearth. She did not tremble when Aldric placed the letter beside her ring. "Have you come for justice?" she asked, probing his expression. "No," he replied, weary. "I have come to be a hinge. Past and future must turn, or we rot." He let her pass. The hooded woman from Bloodbreed lingered in the shadows, as if she had always been there. They vanished into an unanticipated rain. Bran leaned on a spear like a crutch, watching them depart. "Will they brand you a traitor?" he asked. "They will sing me as something," Aldric replied. "Songs are hounds. They hunt with their thrones." In the days that followed, Corvin kept his word, sending bread where ash had fallen. The Pale Company vanished like wraiths. Some claimed the queen crossed the moors to become a healer whose ring glowed in times of famine. Others insisted she took ship into a sea that swallowed names whole. Bran's scar stood out like moonlight, and he left a carved stag at Oathwell, learning letters with Brother Halvor, who laughed more and slept less. As for Aldric, he repaired his shield and patrolled the marches where the river flowed with proud certainty. When mists descended, folk glimpsed a stag at its edge, accompanied by a man with bent shoulders, listening to a voice only he could hear. They counted their grain, barred their doors, and measured promises by the stone circle, for legends do not conclude, they expand. And if, on winter nights, the bells of Greyfen rang without a hand pulling the rope, no one questioned why too loudly. They had learned. Some truths emerge like morning, clear and unwavering. Others arrive like the river flowing backward, leaving you gasping, tangled in stories that refuse to settle.